And now I get to introduce a very wonderful friend. Oh my goodness. How are you? Thank you for being with us since the beginning of the day, Feryial. It's so beautiful to see you. I see you've been nodding your head and writing things down and enjoying your experience. We're so grateful that you're here today. And many of you know Feryial because a lot of you were at the event in Vancouver, and she had generously put a gift into the swag bag. And I know that because I had a couple of women call me and go, I want to make sure I pronounce her name correctly when I call her. It's like, I understand that. Just think of Ferrari, you know? But, and it's interesting because that's how I remember your last name is Par is car. So over here, you're Ferrari. There you go. Let me introduce you to Feryial Parvez, and she is a CDC certified divorce coach. She is the head of business development and partnership at Pivot. And today she's going to talk about her topic title is You Don't Need a Lawyer. Ooh, this should be good. This should be good. The thing that you may not know about her is she is fascinated by reality TV. She feels she learns so much, like psychology, watching some of her favorite TV reality shows. The music that she's loving, and I got to tell you, I'm with you. I just went and bought her double album, which is orange when you pull it out, by the way, is Sade. I mean, who doesn't love Sade? I mean, honestly, when I saw her in concert and she was in bare feet, I'm like, I am so with you. But no ordinary love, no ordinary love. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it up. She is going to be gifting to everyone. I mean, this is generosity, like with a big red bow. She's going to be gifting to everyone a mini private consult. And then of course, one wonderful person is going to win the full deal, the full no ordinary love consultation. That's what we're going to call it today. And we're going to get right into this. So Feryial, welcome to 262 Summit Speaking.
Wow, thank you so much for having me here, Devin. It's been amazing listening to all these amazing women and all the insight that we're getting. And it's just like such a nice community that you've built. So thank you for that. I'm so excited that I'm part of it. Now, I just want to give you a little background on why I became a certified divorce coach. Unfortunately, my younger sister went through a very toxic divorce. And that experience, from the moment she called me to the moment we signed the divorce papers. And I say we because I was on that journey with her. My husband and I felt like we just went through a divorce. I couldn't believe it. It was eye-opening. And the reason I became a certified coach was because of what I saw my sister go through, what my family went through. And, you can have the best lawyer. They're amazing, but they're not they're not your therapist. They can't be your therapist. Family and friends are amazing as well, but sometimes they keep you stuck in the divorce story and don't allow you to move and adapt to your new reality, which honestly, that's what divorce is. Divorce is your new reality and you have to learn how to adapt. And that's where I come in. As a certified divorce coach, I help you. I'm your buddy through divorce. It's much easier to speak to a divorce coach than it is to a lawyer. I'll give you an example. With a lot of my clients, there are women who have been staying at home, weren't earning, and now they go into the lawyer's office and they have to start talking about finances. It is one of the most intimidating processes that, already divorce is so traumatic, and then have to sit there. You feel embarrassed, you feel empowered. You don't feel empowered. You feel like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? And the lawyer just will keep saying, well, I need this information for us to move forward. But somebody like me in your corner can really sit down and explain to you, like, this is not rocket science. We just have to take baby steps and we will get through this together. And so what if you don't know it? So what if you don't know this and you don't know that? We can learn. And, learning is what's going to get you through this whole process. So I've seen women who had no idea what their finances were, but we worked together and they started becoming so confident. I just saw the switch in them. And that is the reason I do what I do. I want to empower these women to realize that, okay, you know what? I lived, but I learned and I'm moving on now. And I'm going to see, I'm going to be okay. And I always tell people, you know what? Maybe you'll have a smaller house. Maybe, it'll take a little time to get back to where you were. But if you're happier and you're healthier, I think you've just won the best part in life anyways. Health and happiness goes so far. So I always encourage people that, if you're going through divorce, before you go to a lawyer, talk to a divorce coach. And why? Because we have great networks. I have an amazing network of people who are financial advisors, mortgage advisors, people who can help you co-parent together. You know, you need a lawyer in the equation, unfortunately, because you want to protect your rights. But having all these, you know, professionals on in your team, you can save so much money and you'll just be so much more efficient and you'll actually learn a lot about, okay, what is the kind of life that I want going ahead? And what is it that I want to, you know, change? I want to change and break those old patterns. This is how you get it done. So if we knew that this divorce coaching even existed when my sister was going through the divorce, I would have said, let's sign you on. But I had no idea. So another thing I'm really passionate about is like getting the word out there. Like, please, you know, people need to start talking about their divorce experiences. And through that, people learn. And that's knowledge is the key part of this whole component. And I find as society, divorce is obviously viewed very negatively. But if we did share our divorce stories, we could really help other people because we might learn something from them. It's nothing to be ashamed about. We need to erase that whole mentality around divorce. You know, it's just something someone goes through and doesn't mean your life is over now. So I just really want to change that narrative and I want people to have the knowledge and the support they need. Because if my sister could have had somebody like that, I think it would have been a game changer and post-divorce would have been easier for her too. So,
Wow. No, I mean, all of our heads are going, either what a great idea, like, and how, so many people have gone through divorce, and you're right, by nature, it's not looked favorable, right? I mean, because for most people, it may not have been the favorable experience or outcome. I think everyone goes in for the most part wanting this to last for a long time. But it isn't celebrated in any way. I remember going to my girlfriend had a divorce party, but it was the divorce party that she had after all of the trauma, and it was to say thank you to the people that helped her go through it. Now, back then, it was mostly like you just said, those of us that I hadn't gone through divorce, so I didn't really know, but I knew how to be a friend, right? And so her circle was that place that she could go bark off, but wasn't necessarily the place that she could go resource. And I think that that's a
right.
very different thing when you talk about having, now that there's people that you can go to resource that can help you with the financial or the learning or the co-parenting or what happens, or that there's a whole new world that's opening up and being accepted. And I do agree with you that it's probably not something that people talk about very often. There's still this idea that it was failed somehow. And I think that sometimes people take that on, where it is by nature a human experience, right?
Yes, I mean, and I think the important thing that you hit on is the trauma that comes out of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
When we are going through that, it is very hard to sit there and think about things, make financial decisions. It is an extreme, so you need somebody by your side that's there to be a sounding board for you, to be there to guide you. Like I don't tell you what to do, but I sit there and I ask you, like, okay, what is it? What do you want? What is it that you see for yourself? What do we want to learn from this experience? And it's amazing how much just by simply just asking somebody that question in a safe space, it can be transformative. It really can. So there's no shame. And once the individual feels like, okay, I'm not being judged here. This person actually really wants to help me. It changes everything. So it makes my day when I see that little change in people. And you know, the funny thing is originally I was only working with women, but I've had now a few male clients, and it's a very interesting dynamic to see the other side. So, you know, I think I bring a lot to the table also because I'm somebody who's now married for 22 years. I bring a different perspective to divorce coaching. So, you know, if you know anyone who needs help, I'm here.
Well, and I think that, thank you for that. And I think that as we, open up conversations around things that were not conversations to be had, like people didn't talk about their money or people didn't talk about that we probably unfairly, and I say we because people didn't have anywhere else to go, they talk about their lawyer bill being, huge, but the lawyer is clocking you, right? I mean, it's a business for them. They're there to be the role of the lawyer, which is to, do the documents and make sure things are right and negotiate for you on your behalf. But I think a lot of times they're put in the position of counselor therapist, and they're clocking you, talking about how you're choked, that da 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 da. And that's not their skill. Like that's not their gift. But you don't really feel like you can talk to anyone else other than your girlfriend that you're like so grateful she picked up your phone for 2 years because, sometimes it can take a long time. But you're paying a lot more, I think, for someone to listen to you when you said the word safe space, but it's someone who's educated enough to know that this is your work, this is their work. We talked about this yesterday, Pat and Kathy, we had this conversation yesterday about the wave of new commodity of entrepreneurial ventures that people are doing, because you see a need and someone's got a passion for it. And now, I am sure you hear people, much like myself, would say, I wish I knew you existed when. And it's interesting, people are like, oh, they know how expensive it is to go to a lawyer, but they didn't have any other recourse, or, and to be able to have someone that you trust resourcing you out, right? That you don't have to tell your story to. Like you said, you're in trauma. You got to tell your story over and over and over again to this person and this person and this person. And it's nice to have someone that you tell once and then can put you in the right direction, right? Yeah.
I almost think of me as like a divorce concierge. I'll get you whatever you need
There you go.
to get at the end of that journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, it's eye-opening on how much trauma comes with this. I didn't realize. I'm just like, well, you should be happy you're getting divorced, but no, there's so much trauma there. And having that support can change everything.
Yeah. So just maybe giving a few tips as we kind of wrap up here. If there's anything else that you want to share, that if someone is thinking of uncoupling, some people call it separation, some people call it divorcing. And the interesting thing too is that people are having the same experiences, whether it's a person, a company they've left. I mean, wow, it was so interesting to listen to Joanna Donnelly from Ireland this morning open up and talk about when she was dancing on the stars, how when they're left, right, how, the week after you're like, oh, that's okay, it was a fun experience. And then the grief that hits in the second week that they didn't win Dancing for the Stars. And no one would think that you would have a counselor, and they're like, what's this counselor doing on staff, right? But so it can be divorcing from many different things. You hear people that have gone through companies, or they've been with a company for 12 years or 10 years, or they gave their heart, they did that, and they go through, similar divorcing as something. But is there anything that you can kind of give people heads up a little bit on if you're looking at making a change like that?
Yes, if you are still married and you're thinking about divorce, I always suggest that you should see a couples counselor together. And I can also work with you, because the main questions, people think that, oh, if I get divorced, my life will just fall back into place. And they don't realize what the journey is like. And sometimes it's just an issue of not communicating with each other. A lot of the times I see husband and wife are not communicating finances. So the expectations on both sides are very, very different. Maybe one spouse isn't communicating that they're actually not happy at work, but they feel the pressure of keeping the lifestyle up, and that creates distance. And then when distance comes into a relationship, what happens? So I think just actually having an open conversation, even if it's not with a counselor, but with me, maybe, it can kind of open your eyes into, okay, what are the real issues? What are we really upset about? Because a lot comes out in those conversations. And if you're going through divorce, my number one thing is don't come from a place of aggression. Because what I've seen is people mirror each other. So if you're being very aggressive, your ex will be aggressive. The lawyer will be aggressive. It's you set the tone. And, divorce, again, people's image of divorce is like Kramer versus Kramer, or like TV shows, or, it's not like that. We don't need to be so aggressive, and we can be accommodating to each other and also protect our rights and respect each other, and just makes it easier for the families. And it's a game changer for co-parenting. The respect, maybe you guys didn't get along when you were married, doesn't mean you can't for the sake of the children. So don't come from a place of aggression. That's what I always tell people while they're going through their divorce. And then post-divorce, you need to make sure that you forgive yourself and give yourself some grace. It's okay that your marriage failed, but does not mean that you will not have a successful life moving forward. So those are my 3 things for each stage of divorce.
Wow, thank you so much. Let's do some love and some hearts and some jazz hands and all of that. It's such an interesting topic. Thank you for being willing to talk about it, make work about it, be there, just to have this whole the world of divorce coaches and divorce coaching and separation, and all of that is just so fantastic and so needed. Oh my goodness. I'm going to, I have a question for your gifts, but before I do, my dear co-host Kathy, thoughts?
Yeah, I think you said it. Wow, I wish that was around when I got my divorce because you're right. The trauma, the stress, the cloudy thinking because of all these emotions and also what's going on in your body. I think you just are so valuable, and I'm so thankful that you have chosen to go into that because a larger percentage of people get divorced nowadays than they stay married. So it's so
Yeah.
needed. So thank you
Yeah.
for the work you do and the passion you bring to it.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much. Thank you. And sorry, if I
So,
could just add one little
oh,
thing
of
quickly,
course, of
just to
course.
protect people. When you are getting a divorce coach or any kind of professional like this, please make sure that they are certified or licensed. You do not want somebody who doesn't have the proper training to help you in this journey. It's a very, it affects your life, finances, and your kids. So please be very wary and make sure that you check all the credentials.
There you go. So just don't rely on your best friend. I saw a post that said something about I want to give thanks to my friend that didn't hang up on me for 8 years while I worked through the last drama. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so good. That is so funny, of course. All right. So thank you for being so generous and offering everybody a mini consult, and the person that is going to win some very special time with Feryial. So she made a really great, I mean, we've just been like, I could make a t-shirt with all the quotes and all the cool things that women have said in this summit just today alone. But there was 3 things that she said in your life, and that a result of this experience. They all started with L. The first one is love. The second one was learned. And the third one was what? So you've loved, you've learned, and now you're going to, and it starts with L. Put that word and put your email address in the chat, and we will see who has won this special time with her. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here all day. And